Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Here we talk about exercise number 5.2, and in our last class we have done with, I think, first 7 questions of 5.2, and 5.2 deals with the application of linear equations. Here we have some applied sort of questions, and that overall concept deals with the 1-point slope formula, and if we are having 2 points, we can determine the slope, then we can put the value of slope into the 1-point slope formula, and we can determine the function. And this exercise is important for the conceptualization of how we can implement linear equation, or what are the practical implications of linear equation. Question number 7 was done in our last class. If we look at question number 8, 9, 10, 11 to 12, these all questions are same. Here we have 2 points. First we have, whenever we have 2 points, first of all we can find the slope. As you know, slope is denoted by m, and the formula of m is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And we can find the slope, and slope can be the positive or negative, or 0 or undefined. But here, if slope is negative, you know the interpretation, how we can interpret the relationship between input and output variable. So, if you look at question number 12, question number 12 is related to a survey. Here we have 2 points. Basir, can you read question number 12?
Sports injuries.
Yes.
A survey of high school and college football players suggests that the number of career-ending injuries in this sport is increasing. In 1980,
number of injuries are increasing with the passage of time. It means there is increase. Time is increasing, number of injuries are increasing. So it's understood the slope is positive. Slope is positive.
In 1980, the number of such injuries was 1925.
So in 1980, that is a base year which is given. The number of injuries are, one is input, second one is output. T is input, output is injuries. Then
in 1988, the number was 1235.
The first point is 1990. The number of injuries are 925. After 8 years, the time is 1988, time is 1988, and number of injuries are increased, that those are 1235. So, we assume number of injuries increase at a linear rate. It's already stated, and in part A we have determined the function n is function of t. N is function of t. For question number 12, n is function of t. So, it's clearly stated the base year is 1980. And if you look at your part A, n equals the estimated number of injuries per year, and t equals the time measured in years since 1980. It means t is t in 1980. So the value of t1 is 0, because that is a base year. T2 1988, so its value is 8, because 1988 and first is 1980 and second point is 1988. So the value of t is 8. So we can draw the 2 points when time is 0. Then number of injuries are 925. Number of injuries are 925. Second point is, this time is in 1980. Here are number of injuries. We can denote it by t. Next point is, time is 8 years. When it's 8 years? 1988. And number of injuries are 35. It's t1. It's n1, it's t2, it's n2. So you can simply determine the slope then you can determine the function by putting the value in one-point slope formula, and what the components are required. You can simplify, you can extract the data, you can extract the value. But the important point is here we have to extract the points. Once you get the points, then it's not problem for you students, because we have done a lot of practice related to these sort of questions, these kinds of questions. I think you can solve by yourself rest of the part. The important is how we extract the data. Now we move forward to question number 30. What is question number 30?
Marriage prospectus.
Yes.
Data released by the Census Bureau in 1986 indicate the likelihood that never married women would eventually marry. The data indicated that the older the woman, the less the likelihood of marriage.
So it's the marriage-related case with respect to female. It's understood and it's natural if and the chances of marriage are related to the age of females. Higher the female age, lesser the chances of marriage. So there is inverse relationship. If the age is increasing, the chances of marriage are decreasing. So it's understood, we are confirmed, we know that the slope is negative. But how we can find? First we have to extract the points. First we have to determine the points, extract the points, then we can find slope. After that we can find the function, and what rest of the parts which we have required in this question we can easily solve. But the important is we have to understand what's given, what we have to determine. Yes, next please.
Specifically, two statistics, marriage and women 25 years old, so indicated that women who were 45 and never married had an 18% chance of marriage, and women 25 years old had a 78% chance of marriage.
So there are two age brackets. The woman having age 45 years is having the chances of marriage 18%. The young girl, for example, having the age 25 years, and the chances of marriage are 78%. So one is age, second one is chances of marriage. So it's very clear there are 2 points. When age is 45, chances of marriage are 80%. When age is 25, chances of marriage are 78%. 78%. Just next please. What's
Assume that a linear fit to these two data points provides a reasonable approximation for the function P is equal to f of A. Where
so P is percentage or chances of marriage. P is function of A. What is A? That is an age of women. So first of all we need to determine the slope. Then we have to determine the function. Clear?
Yes.
So first we determine M. M is equal to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. What is y2? y2 is 78, y1 is 18, x2 is 25, x1 is 45. x1 is 45. Here the value is 60.
Yes, sir.
And divided by minus 20. Divided by minus 20. Divided by minus 20. Here we can check so what is the sum? That is minus 3. So M is equal to minus 3. But in part A we have to determine the function. Part A we have to determine the function P is f of A. So we have 2 points.
Yes.
First we can determine slope.
Yes.
After determining slope, we can place any of the point into one point slope formula, and you have the better understanding that one point slope formula is y minus y1, y minus y1 is equal to m into x minus x1. X minus x1. We have the values of x and y. So if we consider first point y minus y1,
yes.
So the value of x is y is 18 minus y1, m is minus 3, x minus the value of x1, x is
45.
45 minus. No,
sir. Value of y1, sir.
Yes, here we are making a mistake.
Yes, sir.
Y
minus 18.
Here is x1.
Yes.
Here is y1. So y minus 18 is equal to minus 3 into the value of x1 is minus 45. Now we can simplify it. So y minus 18 is equal to minus 3x minus plus 45 multiplied with 3 is 135. So y is equal to minus 3x plus 135 plus 18.
153.
So y is equal to minus 3x plus 153. So here we have to place the expressions which are given in the question. Instead of y, we need to place p, and for x we have to x will be placed by a.
Yes.
So p is equal to f of a, that is minus 3a plus 153. That was all about part A. Here we have to determine the function. Then we can determine part B. What is part B?
Interpret the slope and p-intercept.
So here we can find the p-intercept. Here we can find the p-intercept. We know m is equal to minus 3. But first we need to determine p-intercept. P is y-intercept. As you know, y-intercept is always equal to constant. Because at y-axis the value of x is 0. At p the value of a is 0. Understood? It's understood that we are having the constant which is equal to 153. So p-intercept at p-intercept is equal to 0. So p is equal to minus 3 into 0 plus 153. So p-intercept is equal to p. The intercept is equal to 0 and 153. You can write here is equal to 153. But our concern is to interpret the meaning of slope. Okay, if we look at the slope is negative, it's understood. So every year the chances of marriage are decreased by 3%. Decreased by 3%. So we can interpret slope represents that if the age is increased by 1 year, the chances of marriage are going to decrease by 3%. Also, I will be recommending that once I ask question, then you have to answer. Otherwise, you have to listen. So next, we have to interpret the meaning of p-intercept. P-intercept, what is this? This is a, that is age. What is this? Chances of marriage. When age is 0, then the chances of marriage are 153%. Is it making any sense? A newborn baby. So newborn baby is having age 0.
Yes.
It's not making sense. It's unrealistic.
Yes.
It's unrealistic. That I think part C is related to the interpretation of p-intercept. So how we can interpret? When age is 0, the chances of marriage are 153. Okay. What is part C?
Do the values in part B seem reasonable?
Do the value of part B seems reasonable? Actually, he is talking about the p-intercept interpretation. No, it's not logically appealing because newborn baby is having age 0, and how it's possible to have a marriage chances, and it's not making any sense. Okay?
Yes.
So you should be very carefully while making the interpretation. While making interpretation, or if you have to keep silent, please. Okay, in part D, what is part D?
If the restricted domain on this function is 20 less or greater than a less or greater than equal to 50, determine f of 20.
So here we have the limit bracket. 20 is less than or equal to age less than or equal to 50. So minimum age limit is 20, maximum is 50 for marriage purpose. Or they are having the point that none of the lady can get marriage before 20 and after 50 they are having the limit in this case. So we have to determine the chance of marriage while having age 20, 30, 40 and 50.
Yes.
If you look at your book, we have 4 slots. 20 years, 30 years, 40 years and 50 years. So tell me that which age bracket lady will be having maximum chances of marriage? 20 year age girl or 50 years age girl? Lady?
20 years.
20 years. It's understood the girl having age or woman having age 20 years, then the chance of marriage will be maximum. If A is 20, then we can determine P. Okay, P is function of, here we determine the function f of a minus 3a plus 153. So P is equal to f of 20 when is equal to minus 3 into 20 plus 153. We can simplify. P is equal to f of 20 is equal to minus 16 plus 153. So P is equal to f of 20 is equal to 93%. What does it mean? How we can interpret? How we can?
At age of 20, the chances of marriage is 93%.
The women having 20 years age, the women with 20 year age have the chance of marriage 93%. Okay, you can determine by 30. If the value is if the value of A is 30, the value of A is 40 and 50 by yourself, and you can make the interpretation and make the discussion. When A is increasing, the output is decreasing. Chances of marriage are decreasing. Why? Because slope is negative. They are having inverse slope. I think you can solve it yourself with the rest of the values. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So here question number 14. Question number 14 is related to the income of two families. Yes, Wasif, read it.
Two income families, figure 5.8 illustrates the result of a survey regarding two income families. The data reflects the percentage of married couples with wives who work for 4 different years. The percentage appears to be increasing approximately at a linear rate, using the data points for 1960 and 1988.
So, that is a historical data.
Yes.
While keeping in mind the graph which is given below, and we have to extract some points, point A, point B, then we can determine the slope as well as function. So what is part A? Determine the linear function. That is P is function of time. P is function of time. What is P? Percentage married couple with wives who work. Okay. So figure 5.8 illustrates some results. We can extract the data. So where P equals the estimated percentage of married couple with wives who work, and T equals the time measured in years since 1950. Since 1950, the base year is 1950. In 1950, the value of T is 0. It's given. Corresponding year, we can name it as a corresponding year. So what actually we have to determine? We need to determine a function. We need to determine a function. So if you look at graph, what is first point? What is first point? When T is 1960, here is graph, here is graph, here is 1950,
90.
because the value is
90.
0,
Yes, sir.
here the value is 0, and they are having the gap of 10 years at x-axis. Here is 1960, then 1970, then 1980, then 1990. Here are the chances of, I think the value of P is given in percentage. It's also stated in the difference of 10, 20, 30, then 40, 50 and 60, okay, 70 and 80%, which is given. Look at first point, at the line, first point. So first point is, line is starting from here. I think first point is, T is, first point can be 10 years.
10.
The percentage is, here is T, here is T, here is P. Percentage is
30.
Is it? You need to look at graph. Look at graph. So in graph, the minimum, the starting point is, the starting point is this. Then they have another point, I think, which can be a combination of 50 and 80. That is on 80. 50 and 80, I think here, because we are not placing on graph, so the difference can be a little bit different.
Yes.
So how many years? 10 years, 20, 30, 40 years. And what is percentage? 50. Is it?
Yes.
But what actually we need to determine? 60, 70, 80, that is 30 years.
30 years.
That is 30 years. Here is 10.
Yes.
Here is 20 years. Here is 30 years. Here is.
Okay.
If we look at the last point, last line before part A, using the data points for which points? Using the data points for 1960 and 1988 is here.
Yes, sir.
1988 is here. We should be very vigilant. We should be very clear that 1988 is, I think, somewhat extent here.
Yes.
How many years?
38.
38. And what can be the value? Value can be the 60 years. Value can be 60 years. So the second point is 38 and 60. When you draw on graph, then you can determine the exact point. Here we are placing on board, we don't have graph, then that's why the points are some misleading, but the value can be 60. So our concern is, if you look at your last sentence before part A, last sentence before part A, what point actually we have to use? We have to use 1960. Is it 1960?
Yes, sir.
And second point, we have to use 1988.
Yes.
How many years? 38 years. When 1988. That is our concern. In 1960, the P is 30%. In 1988, the P is 60%. But in 1960, how many years? 10 years. In 1988, how many years? 38 years. So T1 is 10. T2 is 38. When T1 is, what is the P1?
30.
P1 is 30% and P2 is
60%.
60%. you should be very clear while extracting the points. If points are wrongly extracted, then slope will be wrong. If slope is wrong, function will be wrong. Our calculation will mislead us. Our calculation will mislead us. Now we can determine slope. What is slope? M is equal to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. But in this case, instead of x and y, we are having t and p. So here is p2. Instead of y, we are using p. p2 minus p1 divided by t2 minus t1, and we have the values of these components. Then we can simplify it. What is p2? That is 60. p2 is 60. p1 is 30. t2 is 38 and t1 is 10. So what is m? So m is equal to 30 by 28. 1 point. M is equal to
1.07.
0.7%, and that is the first slope. Then you can determine the function and so on. I will be suggesting here you can find the rest of part by yourself, because that was important. That was some bit logical how we can extract the points, and I have given you the detailed contextualization or conceptualize the concept. Then you can determine it by yourself. Clear, students?
Yes, sir.
So question number 15 is same as question number 14. Here the expenditures of education case is given, which is also related to figure number 5.9. Question number 15. Can you read it?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Education expenditures. Figure 5.9 illustrates the expenditures per student in US public schools over a 3-decade period. The expenditures are stated in constant dollars, which filter out the effect of inflation. The increase in expenditures per student appears to have occurred approximately at a linear rate. In 1958, the expenditures per student were 1,750. In 1984, the expenditures were 3,812.50. Using these two data points,
Okay, next.
determine the linear approximating function E is equal to f of t, where E equals the estimated expenditure per student in dollars and t equals time measured in years since 1955. T is equal to 0 corresponds to 1955.
Okay, students, in this case, we have the outcome variable is expenditure, which is based on time. With the passage of time, the expenditures are increasing in the education sector, and it's very relevant in our practical life. If you look at every year, the educational expenditures are increased. So the base year, or we can say corresponding year, is 1953, where t is equal to 0. But what is our concern? We have to determine the expenditure, and the data is given in 1958. The expenditures are equal to, expenditures were 1750. So we should be very careful while extracting the points. In 1953, t is equal to
1958.
No, t is equal to 0. That is a base year. But what we have required, 1958. In 1958, so t1, that is the first point, that is given, which we have to make the decision. So value of t is equal to 8 years. Sorry, 5 years. What is difference between 1958 and 1953? That is 5 years. I can write clearly here 5 years. So first point, when t in 1958, t is equal to 5 years. And what is expenditure, which is denoted by E? I think expenditure is denoted by E. So E1, the expenditure in 1958 is $1,750 is the expenditure in 1958. Second part, T2 in 19 1984. The T2. What is the difference between 1984 and 1953? How many years? You can check it. How many years? 29? 29 years. 1984 minus 1953.
31, sir.
31 years?
Yes.
So, T is equal to 31 years. How we find it?
By subtracting this.
Subtracting the current year minus base year. Here the current year is 1958 minus base year is 5 years. Current year minus base year is 31 years. Then E2, the expenditures are
3212.50.
3812.50 is E2. Here we can place the points 1750 and second point is 31 and 12.5. Then you can find slope. After that you can find the ES expenditure as function of time. I think you will be able to solve by yourself. And there is nothing difficult related to this question. You can simplify by yourself. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Then you can find the slope as well as you have to interpret the meaning of slope and intercept. Intercept is y-intercept. Intercept is y-intercept, and always the outcome intercept or y-intercept or e-intercept in this case are equal to constant or is equal to constant. You can make a logical decision and then you can interpret the results. Same are the rest of questions. For example, 16, 17 are the same questions. You have to carefully read the question, which information is given and what we have to determine. All the questions are same. You can make a practice by yourself. If you are having some problem, you can write me. So, question number 18. I need a little bit your more concentration to solve this question. Here is a case. There are some text brackets, and we have to determine functions in each bracket and how it will work and how we can draw the function. So, read Joseph, what is the question?
Federal income taxes. Table 5.3 contains the 1990 federal tax rates for a single person. Determine the function t is equal to f of x, where t equals the tax liability in dollars for a single person and x equals taxable income in dollars.
So, one is tax rate, second one is taxable income. Tax rate is depending on the taxable income. If someone is having more income, obviously he is having some tax brackets, different tax brackets. There are different tax brackets which are given. If income is 0 to, if you look at table 5.3, next page, if you look at table 5.3, page number 196, so table is given. Here we have minimum and maximum income, income bracket, then the tax rate will be applied on different income brackets. Okay, tax is function of taxable income. Income is denoted by x, tax rate is denoted by t. Okay, tax is denoted by t. So, when income is between 0 to 19,450, then the tax rate is 15%. That is part A. What is part B? If income is over 19,450 but less than 47,050, the tax rate is 28%. If income is over 47,050, then the taxable income not more than 97,620, then tax rate is 33%. If the income is more than 97,620, the tax rate is 28%. So we have four parts. We have to determine the function. We have to determine the function. If what is first condition? If income is over 0, part A. If income is over 0 but
Not over 90.
less than but less than 19,450, then tax rate is
15%.
15%. Tax rate is 15%. And as we know, P is function of X. So we can draw the function here. What is percentage? That is 15%. 0.15 into 0.15 into how much? What is the name of variable? X. That is X. So 0.15 into X. We place the variable with the tax rate. That is part A. What is part B? If income is over, what is upper limit here?
The 19,450.
Over, the next bracket will start from here onwards?
Yes.
Or before? Onwards. So, over 19,450, then over
19,000.
but less than
47,050.
but less than 47,050, then tax rate is
28%.
tax rate is 28%. Here we are proceeding after this. Have we extracted the function before this income bracket?
Yes.
So the next will be applied, the before part will be covered by preceding period, and the next will be covered by this function.
Yes.
Okay, so P is equal to f of x is equal to 0.15x. What it represents?
Percentage.
Under 19,450 plus how much percentage?
28%.
0.28
0.28.
on which it's applied. X minus 19,450. Got the point?
Yes.
When it will be applied, if someone is having 20,000 income, someone is having 20,000 income, 20,000 minus 19,450, the rest of amount will be multiplied with this. And why not on the 20,000 here? Because this is related to under 19,450. Got the point? Part C. If income is over
47,050.
Income is over 47,050 but less than 97,620, then tax rate is
33%.
33%. Have we done with this before this?
Yes, sir.
So what is the function which is implied on 47,050? That is 0.15x
Yes.
plus 0.28 x minus 19,450 plus
Yes.
0.33.
Multiply by
Here it will be applied after this point.
Yes.
After
This
this
one.
one. If someone is having income 40,000, then this bracket will not be applied. We can solve here. Here the 40,000 minus this, because why we are going to subtract this? Because it has been already adjusted here. It has been already adjusted here. So we can write function P is equal to f of x is equal to 0.15x plus 0.28 into x minus 19,450 450 plus the next bracket when someone is having income more than 40,000 and $50 or rupees, whatever is the unit of currency. So the tax rate which will be implied is 0.33 into x minus what? Here we have to write
47,000.
because 47,000 it represents the 47,000.
Yes.
This part represents 47,000 and 50. Got the point? X minus 47,000, 50. Okay? What is part D? If income is
97,620.
if income is over what? 620, then tax rate is. That is the maximum upper limit in this question. If there is another limit, then we can solve our question as we did before. So then the tax rate is
28%.
28%. Very good. So on 19,620 overall this function is done.
Yes.
We will add 0.28 into x minus 97,000. So t is function of f of x is equal to 0.15 x plus 0.28 into x minus 19,450 plus 0.33 into x minus 47,050 plus 0.28 into x minus 97,620. That is the last bracket which is given in this table. We can extract the function by putting the values. Whatever the value of x is, we can solve by this concept, by this approach. Clear, students?
Yes.
So, question number 19. That is about market equilibrium. That is about market equilibrium. Market, there are two major concerns in any market. One is demand, second one is supply. So when demand and supply, when market is equilibrium, when we can say the market is functioning at equilibrium. The price, input is price. Price is input of demand as well as input of supply. When quantity demand and quantity supply are equal to each other, then we can say market is behaving as equilibrium. Then there is an equilibrium in the market. Which component brings the market equilibrium? That is the price. The price which brings quantity demand and quantity supply to each other, equal to each other, then we can say market is in equilibrium. Okay? Concept clear?
Yes, sir.
Whenever someone asks you about market equilibrium, we can simply define the price which brings quantity demand and quantity supply equal to each other is called market equilibrium. Is called market equilibrium. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So here we have two equations. QT1. A market is an equilibrium. There are two types of products. Quantity 1 is having QT1, also having QS1. Second product is also related to QD2, QS2. What is D? That is demand. S is supply. So what is market equilibrium? Here is demand, here is supply. If they are equal. If there are two products, QD1 must be equal to QS1. If there are three products, QD3 means quantity demand of product 3 must be equal to quantity supply of product 3. Okay, in this case, how many products are there? There are two products. there are two products. There are following demand supply function for two competing products. So determine whether there are prices which bring the supply and demand levels into equilibrium for two products, and we can check the if so, what are the equilibrium quantities? What are the equilibrium quantities? So we have two functions. Q d1 is equal to 82
minus 3p1
minus 3p1
plus 2 plus p2
plus p2. Qs1 is equal to 15p1
minus 5
minus 5. Is it? Third equation is Qd2 is equal to
92 plus 2p1
minus
4p2
minus 4p2. Qs2 is equal to 32 p2 minus 6. So first we find the market equilibrium of product 1, then product 2. After that we can determine the prices and quantities. So here we find market is behaving in equilibrium position, or equilibrium situation is in the market. So QD1 is equal to QS1. Never make a mistake. Sometimes students QD1 is equal to QD2. Students make this type of mistake. Then sometimes they make a comparison QD1 is equal to QS2. No, quantity demand 1 will be compared with quantity supply 1. Quantity demand 2 will be compared with quantity supply 2. So first we solve this equation. So QD1 is equal to 82 minus 3p1 plus p2 plus p2 is equal to 0. Is equal to 0. Is equal to QS1 50 p1 minus 5. Okay, they are equal to each other. Then we shift, we can simplify it.
Yes.
Okay, 82 minus 3p1 plus p2 minus 50
Yes.
p1 minus 5 minus
7
5
plus 5
is equal to 0. Is equal to 0. So we can simplify minus 3p1 minus 15p1 will be equal to minus 80p1 plus p2. So plus 87 is equal to 0. We can name it equation 1. That is equation of market equilibrium of product 1. Then we find the market equilibrium of product 2. Market equilibrium of product 2. So QD2 must be equal to QS2. What is equation of QD2? 92 plus 2p1 minus 4p2 is equal to QS2. What is QS2? 32 p2 minus 6. 32 p2 minus 6. So here we can simplify the equation. 92 plus 2p1 minus 4p2 minus 32p2 plus 6 is equal to 0. Further we can place p1 first, then p2, then constant.
Yes.
So 2p1 minus 32 minus 4
36
minus 36 p2, then 92 plus 6 98 is equal to 0. We can name it equation 2. Equation 2. What is equation 1? Minus 18?
Minus 18p1
Yes.
plus p2
Plus p2
plus 87 is equal to 0.
Plus 87 is equal to
0.
0. What is equation 2?
2p1
2p1
minus 36p2
minus 36p2
plus 98 is equal to 0.
plus 98 is equal to
0.
Is it 1?
Yes, sir.
Is it 2? Do we have more than one equation?
Yes, sir.
So what it's called once we have more than one equation, that is called system of linear equation.
System of linear equation.
And the power of variable is 1.
1.
And we have two variables, one is p1 and one is p2. And both are having maximum power 1. Can we name it system of linear equation?
Yes, sir.
And how to solve the system of linear equation? There are 4 methods we have done with exercise number 3.1 in detail.
Yes, sir.
One is elimination method. To determine the value of one variable, first we have to eliminate one of the variable. So what's the procedure? We have done in our in exercise number 3.1 in detail. So if first there are different points, and first point is how we can eliminate. First of all, we have to consider one of the variable, whatever we want to eliminate. If I want to eliminate p1, when it can be eliminated? If their coefficients are same with opposite sign. If their coefficients are same with opposite sign. p1 signs are opposite.
Yes, sir.
But coefficients are
Not same.
For bringing the coefficient same, we must be multiplying one of the equation.
Yes.
Here coefficient is 18. Here is 2. I am required 18 here. So 18 in equation 2. So I will be multiplying. Will be
9.
multiplying equation 2 by 9. Then add to each other. If here is minus 2, then subtract to each other.
Yes.
If signs are positive, then we can add to each other. What we can write? Multiplying
Equation 2.
multiplying equation 2
by 9.
by 9, then subtracting.
Add.
Sorry, no,
Sir.
then
Adding each other.
adding
Each other.
to each other. Clear?
Yes, sir.
We can write equation number 1 before, then we can multiply equation 2 by 9 and so on. So minus 18p1 plus p2 plus 87 is equal to 0. 2 multiplied by 9 is 18p1, then 9 multiplied by 36,
324.
324, p2 here is minus. Then 98 multiplied by 9,
882.
82 is equal to 0. We are going to add sign or remain. Same. Let's eliminate it.
Yes, sir.
What's here? 323 minus 323.
Yes, sir.
P2 is equal to 87 plus 882.
969.
9
69.
plus 969.
Yes.
69
Yes.
is equal to 0. Is it first degree equation?
Yes.
How to solve?
Sir, constant.
Shift the variable, one side, constant, other side. So minus 323 P2 is equal to minus
69.
969. So P2 is equal to
969 divided by 323.
okay, 969 divided by minus 969 divided by minus 323 is equal to
3.
3.
Yes, sir.
So P2 is 3. If we have the value of one variable, then we can find the value of other variable. Placing the value of P2 in equation 1
Yes.
or equation 2, whatever you want, you can, in which equation you want, you can place. So putting value of P2 in equation 1, then we can simplify. So minus 18 P1 plus P. What is the value of P2?
So P2 cos.
What is the value of P2?
3, sir.
3 plus 80, 7 divided by is equal to 0. So minus 18 P1 plus 90 is equal to 0. So minus 18 P1 is equal to minus 90.
Yes.
So P1 is equal to divided 90 divided by 18.
So 5.
5. Okay. P1 is 5. P2 is 3.
3.
These are the prices. What is the definition of equilibrium? The prices. If there is only one product, we can say price. If there are two products, the price of product 1 and product 2, which bring quantity supply and quantity demand equal to each other, then we can invent market equilibrium. Here we have a second point. We have to determine the quantity of D1 and S1. So we can put the value in QD1, putting values of P1 and P2 in QD1. In QD1, what is QD1? 82 minus
3P1
2 minus 3 P1. What's the value of P1? 5 plus 3. Okay.
Yes.
So QD1 is equal to 82 minus 15 plus 3. What's value?
Sir, total is 70.
Total is
70.
70 units. 70 units. Here I have a question. If quantity demand is 70 units, if quantity demand of product 1 is 70 units, so what will be the quantity supply of supply 1? Quantity demand 1 is 70 units. So what will be the quantity supply 1? Market is an equilibrium. Must be equal to 70. Must be equal to 70. If it's not must be equal to 70, it means you have made some mistakes. That will be not market equilibrium. Market equilibrium is when quantity demand and supply are equal to each other. We can place the value in QS1, putting value of QS1, values of what? Value of P1 and P2 and QS1. QS1. So QS1 is equal to
15
P1 minus 5. So what is 15 into 5? Minus 5. 75 minus 5 is equal to
70.
Clear?
Yes, sir.
Obviously, QD2 must be equal to or will be equal to QS2. Okay? But it not necessarily QD1 should be equal to QD2. No. That will be different because the functions are different.
Yes, sir.
Clear? Then you can place the value of P1 and P2 and QD2 and QS2. QD2 must be equal to QS2. Means quantity demand 2 should be equal to quantity supply 2. Then we can claim market is in equilibrium. Otherwise, market will be not in equilibrium. One thing is will be greater, maybe demand may be greater, supply may be less. So the price can be increase or decrease. If supply is more in the market, supply is more in the market, obviously then they need to decrease the price. When they need to decrease the price to attract the more consumer. Obviously demand will be high, then they will be equilibrium. you can make a logical discussion. And question number 20 you can solve by yourself. There are three products and you can solve by yourself. First you have to simplify first two equations, then you can simplify rest of the equation. Then after that you can calculate P1 or whatever you want, P2, P3. Then you can put the values in the simplified equations, and then the required form, which is QS1, QD1 should be equal to QS1, QD2 should be equal to QS2, and QS3 should be equal to QD3. You can solve by yourself. I wish you best of luck.